What if the emotions you've been pushing away for years are showing up as pain, tension, fatigue, or other chronic symptoms in your body? I know this might sound surprising, especially if you've spent years trying to find a physical explanation for your chronic symptoms. But I find most chronic pain and symptoms are not caused by an issue in the body. They're caused by a pattern of disconnection from emotions. Before I go any further, I want to explain clearly neuroplastic symptoms are real. The pain is real. The fatigue is real. And they're being caused by your brain and nervous system becoming sensitized due to being stuck in this heightened state of danger. And neuroplastic symptoms occur even though your body is completely healthy and capable. What most people don't realize is emotional suppression will keep your nervous system in survival mode. So when emotions arise and you repeatedly resist them, suppress them, and avoid them, it keeps your nervous system highly activated. And that dysregulation can lead to real pain and symptoms occurring. I know this because I experienced it myself. Since my teenage years, I had been constantly suppressing my emotions. I excessively worked, was perfectionistic, high achieving, was people-pleasing, used drugs or alcohol, excessively ate or excessively used nicotine. And eventually, this led to me developing widespread, debilitating chronic symptoms. Now, in my therapy practice, I've supported hundreds of people in recovering from their chronic symptoms. And a big part of that treatment that I provide is teaching them to feel their emotions. Now, in my experience, people have four main ways they resist feeling emotions. And so as I go through each of these, see which ones you relate to. Number one, Alexithymia. Just a ridiculously fancy term, but an important concept. Now, alexithymia means people have an inability to identify and describe the sensations of emotions in their body. And so when people have alexithymia, they're really good at thinking and being in their head. They're not good at feeling. They have a real hard time being able to identify what different emotions feel like inside. And what I find happens is they have a hard time distinguishing between the sensations of emotions and the sensations of pain, fatigue, or other chronic symptoms. Now, for people that have full-on intense alexithymia, there's a real disconnect. So let's imagine if I'm working with someone in session and I can see that they're crying, that they're shaking. And if I ask them, how do you feel this sadness inside? They'll look at me blankly because they've never dropped in. They have no understanding of how sadness feels. They cognitively know they're feeling sad, but they could not tell me, that they feel a hollowness or a sinking feeling or a cold or limp feeling. And so, yes, some people are really severe in alexithymia. Other people are less severe. Like for myself, I had awareness of emotions before healing, but it was only when they got extreme enough. So if I was dealing with a stressful situation, I was kind of like in la la land. I was fine. And all of a sudden I'd have intense anxiety. Well, that's not what happened. The anxiety and stress was building, but I had no awareness of it until it crossed a certain threshold. And so with alexithymia, we can work on this, but we need to practice consistently dropping in and describing what sensations feel like inside. So a task you can do is as you go about your week, when you consciously know I'm feeling angry right now, I'm feeling frustrated, or you consciously know you're feeling sad, you need to practice scanning your body and start to connect. What do I feel inside? I cognitively know I'm feeling an emotion. What are the sensations that are happening? This is how we reconnect with our emotional state and overcome alexithymia. Number two, viewing emotions as dangerous. Now, when we are kids, many of us get the message that feeling emotions is threatening and dangerous. We're told to not feel, that we're too sensitive, to not get upset. So we start to fear feeling emotions. Also, when we're kids, we model how we feel emotions based on our parents. So if you've had a parents that chronically suppress their emotions, the child learns to do this and learns that feeling isn't safe. Or if you had a parent that expressed emotions but in an unhealthy way, right? Like maybe they were violent or aggressive. Again, the child learns, oh, feeling emotions is scary. It's not safe to do that. And so a lot of us have this experience where we view emotions as dangerous. And when that happens, we're not going to allow ourselves to feel emotions. And so a starting place is you need to identify what emotions you view as dangerous, because every single person is different. Some people view all emotions as dangerous. Some people only view fear as threatening. Others view shame as threatening. So you need to figure this out for yourself. For myself, I always joke, I don't know what my parents did right, but sadness, even since I was a little kid, I always felt quite safe being with. If someone passed away in my life, I could feel into sadness. I could grieve. I could feel safe, and I knew that I would move through it. But when I was healing my chronic pain, I realized anger and fear I viewed as quite scary. So I had to do a lot of embodiment work, being with those emotions and creating safety with them. Now I don't view those things as scary, and as a result, I don't suppress them anymore. I let them move through my nervous system. But your task here is just figuring out what emotions do you view as dangerous. Number 3, avoidance behaviors. In our society, we love avoidance. We have created so many ways to run away and avoid our emotions. Now, before I explain more about avoidance behaviors, I want to make an important distinction here. Now, in number 1, I talked about alexithymia. And I want to be clear, alexithymia and avoidance behaviors are different. Alexithymia is an unconscious survival response where your nervous system is making you unaware of emotions to keep you safe. So with alexithymia, it's not like a person knows they feel sad and they run away from it. Their nervous system has just learned to click off, so they're not even aware of the emotion. Avoidance behaviors are different because with avoidance behaviors, you're aware you're feeling stressed or angry or fearful or sad, and you're choosing to run away and use an avoidance strategy. So I just thought that could be helpful so people aren't confused between the two. Now, avoidance behaviors, what can this look like? The classic doom scrolling on your phone. How many times a day do you go to your phone because you're stressed out and just scroll on Instagram or scroll on Facebook or YouTube? We're using it to just suppress our emotions. For some people on an extreme end, it's using drugs, alcohol, or nicotine. Now, it can also include things like shopping or compulsive buying. For some people, it's just excessively working, always staying busy in their minds, or, focusing on exercise or hobbies excessively. So there's a lot of ways you can avoid emotions. I always give the funny one that's when I was healing, I became really aware that I was an angry cleaner. So instead of me feeling anger for 10 minutes, I would clean my house for 3 hours. Now, kind of helpful, I get a clean house, but it was a lot of emotional suppression and pent-up energy that was building the whole time. So you want to be really clear on how are you avoiding emotions as you go about your day. So for the rest of the day, I would spend some time becoming really aware of all the little things you do to avoid your emotional state. Because yes, part of healing is starting to feel emotions and feel safe with them and feel deeply connected to them. But if you're not aware of all the avoidance behaviors you're doing about your day, you're not going to know when to feel. So Write down a list in your phone as you go about your day, all the ways you're avoiding emotions. Number 4, invalidation. This is the inner voice that tells you, I shouldn't be feeling this way. Others don't feel this way. You're being dramatic. Push through, move on, toughen up. We have this self-critical narrative going in our mind when we start to feel natural human emotions. Now, a lot of the time, this originates from our parents or our caregivers. If a parent invalidates their child's emotions perpetually, well, then what is that child going to do when they grow up? They've learned to now invalidate themselves. And, it's heartbreaking when I hear this from clients, right? All the ways they were invalidated when they're younger, and now that inner voice is just peppering them as they go about their life. And so we need to catch this, because you are never going to feel safe with emotions and let yourself feel them if you're constantly telling yourself you shouldn't feel this way, other people don't feel this way. And so you need to start to become aware of these invalidating narratives and messages that go through your minds as you live life, because we need to start to catch these and challenge them. I want to remind you that feeling emotions is safe, and feeling emotions are natural. As a human being, you're meant to feel the full spectrum of emotions. And so we need to start to allow ourselves to feel into emotions and remind ourselves that they're valid, that they make sense, and they make sense because you're human. Now, I hope this video was helpful on the 4 main ways you resist emotions. So as you go about the remainder of your week, become more and more aware how you are resisting emotions. Because by doing that, we can alter course and allow yourself to start feeling emotions. Now, I have a free embodiment practice for emotions and nervous system states. I'll put the link in the description of this video. That video is going to actually help you feel into your body and feel safe with the sensations. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.